From stories around the world to stories here at home, this is the National News Broadcast. Good evening, I'm Sharon Masquinius.
Well, very good evening to you indeed. I am Shihara Tera. Now let's first have a look at the headlines for tonight.
Presidential candidate Sajid Premadasa says new technological methods will be introduced for the agriculture sector. Presidential candidate Gotabaya Rajapaksa says he will provide the opportunity for the poor people to become entrepreneurs. 3 reservoirs completed under the Uma Oya project to be vested with the public on the 30th of this month. PAFROL observes a decrease in election violence in comparison with previous polls. After 4 years, the spill gates of all tanks in Tissamarama have been opened. The rescue operation to pull out a child stuck in a narrow crevice of a well in India is nearing success.
And now on your top story this evening, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe says it is the present administration that set aside the highest allocation in history for education and health sectors in the country. The Premier expressed these views addressing the nurses gathering held at the Sri Lanka Foundation Institute in Colombo today. The gathering was organised under the theme Nursing Professionals for a New Sri Lanka. The nursing professionals handed over to the Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe and Minister of Health Dr. Rajit Senaratne the epistle for advancement of health sector. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe noted the failed projects that were implemented before the present administration came into power. The Premier noted there was a Hambantota port at which no ships wanted to dock. However, now in collaboration with the China Merchant Company, the port has been made operational. He also noted that the Mattal airport was constructed, but it failed to attract airlines. However, now together with India, steps are being taken to operate flights from Mattal. He emphasized from this point onwards, the government hopes to progress on a solid foundation, increasing state revenue, expanding industrial sector and tourism sectors, and upgrading information technology. The Premier called on the voters to cast their ballot in favour of Minister Sajid Premadasa at the forthcoming presidential election.
Presidential candidate of the New Democratic Front Sajid Premadasa says his objective is to create a self-sufficient motherland by uplifting agriculture to a high level of development with the introduction of the new technological methods whilst providing fertilizer free of charge. He expressed these views joining a rally in Bingiria. He received a warm welcome at the rally. A group of strong supporters and activists of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, together with the SLFP member of the Bingiria Pradesh Sabha, Hemachandra Kularatna, SLFP member of the Udubadava Pradesh Sabha, Samidu Harshana, and the former chairman of the Pradesh Sabha, Stanley Herath, joined in the rally to extend support to Sajid Premadasa. Presidential candidate of the New Democratic Front, Sajid Premadasa, said the objective behind providing fertilizer free of charge is to empower the cultivation of all kinds of crops and thereby increase the agricultural production capacity of the country instead of importing food crops from abroad. He further stated poverty in the country will be alleviated within a short period of time through Samurdhi and through the re-implementation of the Jana Savya scheme. He noted the position that the candidate has still not accepted his challenge for a debate. He added that if the candidate fears the debate, the candidate can bring with him the former president, who is his elder brother, and his elder brother, who is the former speaker, and if he likes, he can bring along with him Namal Rajapaksa, Basir Rajapaksa, and the entire Rajapaksa family. However, Minister Premadasa emphasized that he will face all of them alone. He also stated maybe he does not have the power of money and family power, but he is in possession of the quality of humanity. Therefore, he added that he has absolutely no intention to carry out murders, assassinate media personnel, harass military personnel, or maintain torture chambers. He concluded his new journey is to ensure the sustenance of the common masses.
දිස්ත්‍රික්කය අපි දිනනවා මුළු වයමම අපි දිනනවා මුළු රටම ප්‍රේමදාස පුතා දිනනවාමයි මට මුදල් බලය නැති වුණත් මට පෞල් බලය නැති වුණත් මගේ ළඟ මනුස්සකම තියෙනවායි කියලා මම මේ අවස්ථාවේ ඉතාමත්ම සතුටින් ප්‍රකාශ කරනවා මම මිනී මරන්නේ නැහැ මම මාධ්‍යවේදියෝ ඝාතනය කරන්නේ නැහැ මම රණවිරුවන්ට හිරිහැර කරන්නේ නැහැ මම වද හිංසා දෙන්නේ නැහැ මම වදකාගාර ක්‍රියාත්මක කරන්නේ නැහැ අපේ ගමන මගේ ගමන අලුත් ගමන පොදු ජනතාව ජීවත් කරවීමයි කියන එක මේ අවස්ථාවේ ප්‍රකාශ කරනවා
Minister Sajith Premadasa also joined in a rally held in Panduwasnuwara in Kurunegala yesterday. A number of activists of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, including SLFP councillors of the Panduwasnuwara Pradesh Sabha, Janaka Thilakasiri, Nalinda Veerasekara and Darshana Sampath, joined the rally to extend support to him. He also joined a rally held in Chilao town yesterday. Presidential candidate of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna Gotabaya Rajapaksa says under a government run by him, the opportunity will be open for the poor people of the country to become entrepreneurs. He made these comments participating in a rally held in Vavnia town today. Presidential candidate of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna Gotabaya Rajapaksa still there is a group of citizens that are facing poverty. He says a number of policies were put forward to uplift the living standards of this group, and that is why his party decided on providing fertilizer free of charge. He also stated such areas face a shortage of water. For this issue, he proposes to reconstruct the tanks in these areas in the future. He says under his government, priority will be given to agriculture. He also said one reason for poverty is job seekers not possessing the skills which employers seek. Such individuals are not wealthy, therefore they cannot afford to cultivate farmlands. He says under his proposal, he intends to offer employment in the state sector for one member of such families in the country. He further stated over 70 years after independence, leaders from various parties have misled voters. However, he is presenting a plan which will ensure comfortable lives for the people.
අනාගතය පෙන්වනවා තමුන්නාන්සලාටගේ අනාගතය සරුවත් කරන්නට වැඩපිළිවෙලක් මම ඉදිරිපත් කරලා තිබෙනවා. නිදහස ලැබීමෙන් පසු අවුරුදු 70 ගණනාවක් විවිධ නායකයින් විවිධ පක්ෂ බොරු පොරොන්දු දීලා කවදාකවත් ලබා ගන්නට බැරි පොරොන්දු දීලා ඔබ මුලා කරලා ඔබගේ ඡන්දය ලබා ගත්තා. නමුත් මම තමුන්නාන්සලාට ඉදිරිපත් කරන්නේ තමුන්නාන්සලාගේ ජීවිතය සාරවත් කරන්නට පුළුවන් මේ පළාත් සංවර්ධනය කරන්නට පුළුවන් තරුණ තරුණියන්ට රැකියාවන් ලබා ගන්නට පුළුවන් ගුණාත්මක අධ්‍යාපනයක් ලබා ගන්නට පුළුවන් ක්‍රමවේදයක් මම ඉදිරිපත් කරලා තිබෙනවා.
Meanwhile, a rally was held in Hinguragoda area as well as under the patronage of Gotabaya Rajapaksa.
And now the presidential candidate of the National People's Power, Anura Kumara Disanayaka, says under an administration run by him, there will be no room for racism, religious extremism and terrorism. He expressed these views joining in a rally held in Gampaha today. Presidential candidate of the National People's Power, Anurakumar Dissanayake, questioned as to whether the citizens need to allow the country to go ahead in the present manner. In the decades to come, he emphasized that their party has come forward to put an end to the rule of old-time rulers and build the country through leadership of a new ruler. He accused the leaders who ruled the country for 70 years, creating a lawless country without discipline, and the government rampant with fraud and corruption, ultimately resulting in the country facing a mountain of debt. He pointed out that they need to deliver the country and the citizens from this catastrophe. He further stated that racism and religious extremism have not been a part of his election manifesto. He noted that political platforms of certain candidates are filled with extremists.
Construction work of the three main reservoirs of the Uma Oya multipurpose scheme, which supplies irrigation and drinking water to the districts of Badulla, Monaragal and Hambantota, have reached completion. 300 million power units are due to be added to the national power grid through this annually. Project Director Dr. Sunil De Silva says these reservoirs will be vested with the public on the 30th of this month. Two reservoirs across the Uma Oya and Mathatilla Oya, which are two tributaries of the Maveli River, have been constructed at the Pool Pulla and Dairaba. These two reservoirs are connected by a tunnel of 3.2 kilometers in length, and from the Dairaba reservoir along another tunnel of 15.2 kilometers in length, water will be sent to an underground power plant being built at Karandagolla. The water being released from the power plant will be diverted to the Alikotara tank and will be sent to the Handapanagala River and the Kuda Oya through the left-right bank canals. The height of the dam at Handapanagala has been raised by 12 feet, and the irrigation department says its capacity is thus increased by 5 times. More than 15,000 farmer families will benefit from this project, and it will be possible to cultivate paddy fields exceeding 15,000 acres in extent during both Yala and Ma seasons.
And now the presidential candidate of the Front Socialist Party, Duminda Nagamur, says his party has the capability of building the country in respect of economic, social and political aspects. He expressed these views participating in a rally held in the Horana area. Presidential candidate of the Front Socialist Party, Duminda Nagamur, stated that if the society thinks of placing the crown on Gotabaya Rajapaksa, all they will be left with is a crown of thorns. He stated that a political intervention to prevent such a situation is needed, and that is why the Frontline Socialist Party has come forward. He points out when the cost of living issues, economic issues and political issues have skyrocketed, we need to make the right choice to overcome these issues. He further stated that when frustration in a society becomes intensified, the two mainstream political parties fail to manage the country. He appeals those parties of diverting the attention of society in a different direction. Meanwhile, presidential candidate of the National Development Front, Dr. Rohan Palewatha, visited the Mahanayaka of the Askiri chapter, Most Venerable Varkagoda Jnanaratana Thera, and obtained blessings. He also presented to the Mahanayaka Thera a set of principles detailing his vision. Thereafter, Dr. Palewatha called on the Anunayaka of the Malwatha chapter, Venerable Nyangoda Vijitha Thera, and Dr. Palewatha expressed his views to the media after the visits.
The Sri Lanka Free Democratic Front today lodged a complaint with the Elections Commission on the behaviour of certain private media channels. Attorney at law Rajitha Kodithwaku of the Sri Lanka Free Democratic Front said the chairman of the Elections Commission has set out clear guidelines. However, he notes that Hiru and Derana media institutions can be seen being partial to the candidates they support without any sense of balance in their reporting. He points out, as the frequencies on which these media institutions transmit are public property, the institutions need to be responsible to the public. However, as such, a sense of responsibility is not to be seen they approached the Elections Commission to lodge this complaint. Such contraventions can be defined as robbing the voters of their right to universal franchise by attempting to root their own political perspective in the minds of the voters. Meanwhile, Minister Mangala Samaraweera also expressed his views on the conduct of certain private media institutions. He said he sees Hero TV as a business that whitewashes black money and makes it white. He noted that this uncivilized media culture is being utilized as such media institutions know that they can take forward their dishonorable business forward under an administration run by Gotabaya Rajapaksa and with the intention of having their brother, who is incarcerated on murder charges, being released. The minister noted even he complained to the Elections Commission after a statement voiced by parliamentarian A.H.M. Fauzi was distorted and telecast on Hero News. He emphasized that this administration will not send white vans after anyone. He calls on the public to boycott the Hero channel.
And now the PAFREL organization says when compared with the last presidential election, this time acts of election violence and confrontation are at a minimum level. Executive Director of the PAFREL organization, Rohana Hettiarachchi, expressed his views at a media briefing held today. The Executive Director of the PAFREL organization, Rohana Hettiarachchi, stated it can be observed that this time there is a lesser trend of violence and disputes in the run-up to the presidential election. He noted so far only 14 such incidents have been reported. However, when compared with the previous elections, the misuse of public property can be observed. The difference is, at the previous elections, accusations pertaining to the misuse of state power were directed at one party. However, now accusations are pointed at many parties, and these include the misuse of resources which are continuously being reported at provincial councils and local government level. He warns if evidence is found in the coming days, action will be taken against those responsible. He also notes that certain candidates have begun voicing statements which cause unrest among voters. Such statements have surfaced on social media. He further notes certain media institutions are distorting statements voiced by politicians in their reporting. He emphasized that the Elections Commission has been made aware of these developments and called upon media institutions to refrain from misinterpreting or distorting information to the public.
The 32nd Conference of the Asia Credit Supplementation Institutions Confederation, which commenced today, will be underway until Wednesday at the Cinnamon Lakeside Hotel. The Central Bank of Sri Lanka is hosting the event. Governor of the Central Bank, Dr. Indrajit Kumaraswamy, will be the chief guest. On the sidelines of the conference, a gathering of heads of Asian credit supplementation institutions will be held to discuss the future course of action of the Confederation. Around 110 representatives are due to participate, out of which 50 are foreign representatives. In this sessions to be held tomorrow, the presenters will discuss on the topic of promoting financial inclusion through sustainable finance and the topic of the impact of digitalization in credit guarantee systems and how it can influence the path towards sustainable development.
While credit supplementation initiatives are extremely important, I think all of you will agree that their impact can only be maximized if the overall environment for SME development is conducive. And here I think it's important to have a holistic approach, and there are probably 4 areas where there has to be effective intervention. 1 is training. 2 is access to inputs and technology. 3 is access to finance, and clearly credit enhancement is very important. And finally, marketing. In my view, the most intractable problem is marketing. If the marketing channels are cleared, even access to finance and everything else becomes much, much easier. Often, certainly in Sri Lanka, we've had numerous SME development programs, but we have tended to focus on the production function and not paid enough attention to marketing, to linking up MSMEs and SMEs to supply chains in their own locality, in the region in the country, or the national economy, or across borders. I think it's crucial to make sure that one focuses on the marketing aspect as well, because that is the most intractable problem. And if you resolve that problem, one finds that the other issues become a lot easier. The second more general point to make relates to the institutional architecture for supporting SME development. Speaking from our own experience in Sri Lanka, we have a plethora of institutions trying to assist in SME development. However, there is a challenge in terms of coordination and cooperation. So I think it's important to rationalize the institutional structure to support SME development and to ensure there is strong cooperation and coordination across the institutions which are working in these two sectors. So a holistic approach and strong, robust, focused institutional structure are important to create the overall environment for making credit enhancements, credit supplementation initiatives more effective.
Now it is customary to assess an aspect of the performance of a country using composite indexes such as the Ease of Doing Business Index or the Network Readiness Index. However, with regard to the government services, the indicator of choice is the EGovernment Development Index. The EGDI is published every 2 years by the UN Department of Economic and Social Affairs. According to a recent nationwide survey conducted by Learn Asia, around 30% of all internet users in India and Sri Lanka access government information online, and this is the highest percentage among the countries of South Asia. The survey also reveals in Sri Lanka, amongst those who do not access government websites, 42% say that they do not know how to access them. Among the non-users, 30% know how but see no value. Around 28% have trouble locating government information online. Notably, the absence of government portals which links to all necessary government information can be identified as a lapse. With such a portal, and by enhancing the value of online services and convincing non-users, prospective benefits can be anticipated.
Now, the registration period for the United States Diversity Visa Program, known as the Green Card Lottery for the year 2021, will be concluded on November 5th. Consular Chief of the U.S. Embassy in Sri Lanka, Philip Vanhan, warned the public not to be deceived by frauds and scams related to the program, as the service is provided free of charge for the applicants. He made these remarks in an exclusive interview with the national television today.
The Diversity Immigrant Visa Program, your audience probably knows it better by its more common name of the Green Card Lottery. It's the program where every year the United States sets aside 50,000 visas for countries who historically have a low immigration rate to the United States. So this year, the enrollment is already ongoing. It closes November 5th, so I encourage people to apply as soon as possible. It's super easy to apply for the Green Card Lottery. You just have to go to www.dvlottery.state.gov. And you fill out the forms online, and at the end of that you'll get a confirmation number. Now, we highly suggest that the applicants print that page out, because next year on May 5th, that's when the results come out. In order to find out if you've qualified or if you've been selected for the Green Card Lottery, you need that confirmation number. You go to that website and it'll tell you whether or not you've been selected for the program. Being selected to participate in the program does not guarantee you a visa. There are still requirements in order to qualify for the visa. First and foremost is there's an educational requirement. For Sri Lanka, that translates into applicants have to have 3 passing A-levels, not including general English. The second thing is you have to take a medical examination and be cleared of any health problems. And the last thing is you need to demonstrate that you're able to be reasonably able to support yourself while you're in the United States. After you apply online, you get a confirmation number. That confirmation is so important. We highly suggest people keep that number and don't give it to other people, because we've seen cases before in the past where a visa facilitator might assist somebody in applying for the Green Card Lottery, and then they keep that confirmation page and try and charge them money at a later date in order to see what the results are. Secondly, we will never email anybody saying you've won or asking for money, right? So if you get emails saying that, they're fraudulent, they're untrue, don't trust them. Lastly, if anybody ever gets an email like that and you have a question, you are absolutely welcome to email us at consularcolombo, all run together, consularcolombo@state.gov, and just ask us, and we're happy to help. We're happy to look at it and make sure nobody gets taken advantage of. We require that your photograph be no older than 6 months, so we don't have lookalikes trying to pretend they're other people. The principal applicant is required to give his passport or her passport information. The reason we do that is it stops other people from applying on your behalf. If for any reason there's duplicate or there's multiple applications for one person, that person's disqualified. We're always looking at ways to make it safer for the applicants. People who win the diversity visa program and then ultimately get their visa and move to the United States, they're expected to be able to provide for themselves, right? Find their own jobs, find their own lodging, things like that. For most Sri Lankans, what we see is they have family members or friends, batchmates in the United States who are certainly willing to help them get settled, get on their feet, things like that. But as far as federal assistance programs to help people find jobs or places to stay, no, it's more the responsibility is the winner of the visas. Once the person gets their visa and they travel to the United States, they become eligible to become legal permanent residents. That's the green card. That's what shows their legal permanent resident status. After a specific amount of time in the United States, then they can apply to naturalize and become U.S. citizens. It's not automatic. There are people that go their whole lives while staying legal permanent residents and never naturalize. But when they want to naturalize, they would fill out the necessary documents. They would contact the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Service and go through that whole process in order to naturalize. But it's not automatic. No. We see maybe 500 Sri Lankans every year who win. Some decide that it's not for them and they don't go, but some do. But it's free to apply, and we take the fraud angle seriously. So we want everybody to know that we're not going to ask you for money when you apply. So just be careful. And if there's a question, certainly consularcolombo@state.gov. We're happy to answer your questions for you.
And to bring you an update on the weather now, the Met Department forecasts showers in many provinces of the island over the next 2 days. Showers or thunder showers could occur mainly tonight. The atmospheric disturbance to the southeast of Sri Lanka in the seas of Bay of Bengal is forecast to move to the seas on the west. Therefore, tomorrow, showers or thunder showers of around 100 to 150 millimeters of rain can be expected in the northern, eastern, Uva, southern and north central provinces and in the Nuwara and Matale districts. Vehicular traffic was obstructed along the Colombo-Badula main road after a mound of sand collapsed onto the road. The Allavallavaya road remains closed due to earth slips. As the spill gates of a number of tanks have been opened, low-lying areas in the surroundings have been inundated. The Puttalam District Disaster Management Centre says 1,200 families of the Puttalam district are facing a flood situation. The flood situation has severely affected the Wanatha Viluwa, Mundalama, Anamaduwa Chilau, Nathandiya, Vennapu and Kalpitiya areas. Sea inundation has been reported in a number of areas, including the Gaul and Kahava areas. A number of roads in the Gaul town have reportedly been damaged.
Now on to related stories. The spill gates of all tanks in the Tissa Maharama area have been opened after 4 years. The spill gates of the Tissa Maharama Veva, Yoda Veva, Pannegamuwa Veva and Veeravila Veva have been opened. Thereby, the Department of Irrigation advises residents on low-lying areas to be vigilant.
Opposition leader Mahinda Rajapaksa met with the leader of the TMB party, Shivanesha Thurai Chandrakanthan Alliance Pillayan at the Batticaloa prison yesterday. It is reported that the present political situation and the plans on facing the presidential election have been discussed. At the meeting, the opposition leader extended his good wishes to the TMB party leader on the occasion of Deepavali festival. It is reported that the secretary to the TMB party and a group of representing the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna joined the meeting.
And now a motion has been filed calling on the invalidation of the order issued by the Court of Appeal, which suspended the order issued by the Jaffna Magistrates Court issued on Gotabaya Rajapaksa, calling on him to provide evidence regarding the abduction of 2 individuals. will be taken up for hearing on the 31st of this month. The decision on this regard was taken when the motion was taken up before the Court of Appeal today. The motion was taken up before the President of the Court of Appeal, Justice Yasantha Kodagoda, and Justice Arjuna Obesekara. Thereby, 31st of this month, the motion will be taken up for consideration in the presence of Justice Deepali Vijayasundara, who issued the injunction. The High Court today decided to postpone to the 16th of January further examination in the case filed against parliamentarian Mahindananda Aluthgamage. Thereby, the case will be taken up for hearing on the 16th and 17th of January. Charges have been levelled against the MP, alleging that the purchase of a house along Kingsley Road in Colombo has taken place spending 27 million rupees in illegally earned money.
5 Mahavidyalayas in the Polonnaruwa district have been upgraded as national schools. The ceremony in this regard was held under the patronage of the provincial governor Sarath Ekanaika today. The Thopaveva Mahavidyalaya was renamed as the Maithripala Sirisena National School, whilst the Daulan Kanavala Madhya Mahavidyalaya was renamed as the President's National School. The Kandurwela Muslim Mahavidyalaya was renamed as the Muslim National School, and the Arlaganvila Yaya Madhya Mahavidyalaya was renamed as the Vilayaya National School. The Bakamona Mahasen Madhya Mahavidyalaya was renamed as the Mahasen National School. The cost involved for the overall development for the project was 150 million rupees, while the project was launched under the Polonnaruwa District Development Program. Now to bring you the trading details, the all share price index closed at 5,946.08 points, increased by 10.82 points, and the S&P SL 20 index closed at 2,940.86 points, also increased by 5.55 points at the end of the trading in the Colombo Stock Exchange today. Turnover was over 491 million rupees.